So today is Tutorial Thursday on the My Creative Time blog, and I created this card, and it was made with a technique called smooshing, which is a watercolor technique. And there are several different ways to do this smooshing technique, but I'm going to show you today how the technique I used to do this card. So the first thing that I did was I kind of skipped a couple steps just to make this go a little bit quicker. So basically what I did was, this is a piece of watercolor paper, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I stamped it with the sentiment, which is the Dream Bigger sentiment by My Creative Time. And I stamped it with VersaFine black ink, and then I used clear embossing powder over the top and embossed it so that it sealed the ink. Then I took the Hexie background by My Creative Time, and I used the clear Versamark ink, and I stamped it onto the paper, and then I used clear embossing powder over the top of that. And so I don't know if you can see it or not. You can kind of see it on there. That's going to create the Hexie effect that you see in the card. Okay, so I did that just to save some time. And this technique is kind of fun, and like I said, there's lots of different ways that you can do it, but this is the way that I did this card. So I'm going to use some Lawn Fawn inks, and the first ink I'm going to use is Fake Tan, and it's an orange. And one of the things you want to remember when you're butting colors up next to each other, you want to make sure that when you butt a color next to another color, that they follow each other on the color wheel. So my next color is going to be red, and then my next color is going to be purple, and then I have a blue and a green. But if you butt colors up next to each other that aren't really supposed to be next to each other, you fall into where when they hit one another, you get a gray or a brownish color, and you want to try to keep that from happening. So it's best when you pick colors to do this sort of a technique that you make sure all of your colors line up with the color wheel. And you can get color wheels at the craft store for a couple $, and you can probably even print them off from the internet too, if you don't even want to spend the money. So this is a really simple technique. You're going to take your ink, and again, this is Fake Tan by Lawn Fawn, and I'm going to take my acrylic block and put it along the top of the acrylic block and get some ink on there. And then I'm going to take my little mini mister, and I'm going to spray on the block a couple times just to get the ink a little bit wetter. And then I'll take my card, and I'm going to turn over the acrylic block and just set down the block. And it gives this really cool watercolor effect. Let me zoom in here again and see. So you can see it a little bit better. And then if you wanted to, there's still some ink on the acrylic block. If you wanted to stamp it a couple more times, you could. And what I kind of like to do as well, hit the ink a little bit with my heat tool just to dry it a little bit. Okay, dab it up a little bit too as well. Okay, so then when you go to your next color, you just have to clean your block. And the next color I'm going to use is Lobster by Lawn Fawn, and it's the same technique. Put the ink on my acrylic block, and then squirt the block a couple times, and then turn it over. And I'm overlapping it a little bit on the orange, not too much. And you can see my ink wasn't really wet enough, so I'm going to spray it a couple more times and set it on there again to get the color. And I got quite a bit of red on there, so I'm going to dab it a little bit. You could also leave it if you liked that. You could leave it and just let it dry, or use the heat gun again and dry it. But for the sake of time, I'm going to move on to my next color. Okay, my next color is Juice Box. Again, a Lawn Fawn ink. And again, I'm going to just set it down. I'm overlapping the red just a little bit. Pull it up. Set it down just a little bit again. Pull up some of that ink. And then I'm going to set it again. I'm going to try to get it in that. There we go. It's not left. Okay, so on to the next color we're going to use. This is Peacock. Again, it's a Lawn Fawn ink. I'm going to spray it pretty good and then do the same thing. I'm going to try to overlap it a little bit again on the purple. Pick up some of this blue. Try to get some more of this blue onto the middle right here. See if I can get some more blue. There we go. And our last color is going to be Freshly Cut Grass, and again, it's a Lawn Fawn ink. Oops. Again, I'm going to overlap the blue just a little bit. And it does make a mess. You can see my hand has all the colors of the rainbow on it now. I think I'm going to leave that green just like that. I'm not going to dab it off. I really like the look of that. And that's it. That's basically it. The next step, if you're impatient like me, is you could use your heat gun to dry it and then cut it down and put it on the front of a card. But I love this technique. I think it's really cool. If you have any questions, you can leave them under this video or on my blog. All of the links to all of the products that I used are on my blog, and there's a link to that under this video as well. So anyway, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you later. Bye.